So today for digital responsibility, we will have a presentation about a law and then more specifically cyber privacy laws. So what we're going to talk about is first what are cyber privacy laws, and more specifically the issues that correlate with these laws. And we're gonna present some examples of the different laws around the world, and then more specifically in the EU, in the USA, and in Australia. Cyber privacy laws are laws that protect privacy of online communication. So this means that these laws, they refer to things that deal with the regulation of personal information about individuals. So any sensitive information that you put out online, so anything from your last name to where you live, your telephone number, email address, health records, anything. And the issue of cyber privacy is specifically how the data is being collected. So how is the data of your family members and your health record being collected? And then also who has access to this information. For instance, if you give to one company, you allow them to see your health record, can they assure you that they're not going to share this information with anyone else? Another important aspect that cyber privacy laws also cover is cybercrime, because companies and governments and organizations, they have to protect the customers and the citizens to not get their personal and sensitive information taken away from them. Because a lot of the information that people put online is quite sensitive. It's quite sensitive, and it's not information that should be shared with third parties.
Within the EU, there are two general directives which provide the digital privacy law principles. Firstly, the e-Privacy Directive, which builds on the EU Telecoms and Data Protection Framework to ensure that all communications over public networks maintain respect for fundamental rights, particularly a high level data protection and of privacy, regardless of the technology used. The e-Privacy Directive also requires member states to ensure that users grant their consent before cookies are stored and accessed in computers, smartphones, or other devices connected to the Internet. Secondly, the EU General Data Protection Regulation ensures that personal data can only be gathered under strict conditions and for legitimate purposes. Organizations that collect and manage personal information must also protect it from misuse and respect certain rights. Some of the EU telecom users' rights on privacy are as follows: high standards of data protection for personal data stored or transmitted over the telecommunication network and to protect user identity. Telecom operators and internet service providers possess a huge amount of consumer data, which must be kept confidential and secure. However, sometimes sensible information can be stolen or lost or illegally accessed. The e-Privacy Directive ensures that the provider reports any personal data breach to the national authority and informs the subscriber or individual directly of any risk related to personal data or privacy. Unfortunately, there are no laws on cyberbullying within the European Union yet. However, the EU has adopted a range of legal provisions that relevant to cyberbullying, such as the Directive on Victims' Rights and the Directive on Combating Child Sexual Abuse. This means that something is being done to combat cyberbullying. Within the member states, however, only Spain has a specific law that combats cyberbullying in life in general. Some other member states, such as France and Sweden, have adopted laws that combat cyberbullying, but only in the workplace.
So the next example will be the USA. So in the USA, data privacy is not highly legislated or regulated. So in the United States, access to private data contained in, for example, third-party credit reports may be sought when seeking employment or medical care. or making automobile, housing, or other purchases on credit items. However, there is a partial regulation that exists like federally. However, there's no real like big federal all-encompassing law that regulates the acquisition, storage, or the use of personal data. The closest that exists as a federal law to protect cyber privacy is the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, which establishes criminal sanctions for interception of electronic communication. This Privacy Act was amended by the Communications Assistance to Law Enforcement Act in 1994, by the USA Patriot Act in 2001, and by the USA Patriot Act Reauthorization Act in 2006. The law basically prohibits a third party from intercepting or disclosing communications without authorization. So, for instance, if you are signing up for a web page, you have to often click on the terms and conditions, and sometimes in these terms and conditions, you give this company the authorization to share your information with other parties. So that is something that you have to look out after. However, in this law, there are a lot of loopholes. So many people they see this act as meaningless because, for example, consent can be implied to any reading of electronic communications by accepting employment with an organization that practices surveillance against its employees. And the law does not count for governmental agency as they still have the right to obtain electronic files without needing a warrant. In the US, cyber privacy laws, they exist more as state laws rather than federal laws, meaning that specific states, they have a more specific law regarding cyber privacy. And there's many examples of this, two of them being firstly the children's online privacy. This is a law in California and Delaware, which permits minors to remove or to request and obtain removal of content or information posted on an internet website, online service, on an application, or mobile application. It prohibits operators of websites, online or cloud computing services, online applications, or mobile applications directed at children from marketing or advertising on its internet service specified products or services inappropriate for children's viewing, such as alcohol, tobacco, firearms, or pornography. The second one being the privacy policies for websites or online services. So in California, Connecticut, and Delaware, there are laws that require any person who is collecting a social security number in the course of business to create a privacy protection policy. So, for instance, if you're a company and you require the social security number of your customer, you have to ensure your customer that there is a privacy protection policy in place. And this policy must publicly be displayed by posting on a web page or on a web page, and this policy must protect the confidentiality of social security numbers, prohibit unlawful disclosure of social security numbers, and it must limit the access to the social security numbers.
In Australia, privacy of individuals online has been ensured under the Privacy Act of 1988, which regulates how personal information is handled. However, in October 2013, a new metadata retention scheme was introduced. This was allegedly implemented to protect the country against organized crime and terrorism, but it is also being slammed as a major invasion of privacy. And under that metadata retention scheme, every phone call and the text message as well as email can be, can be tracked by the government. And also they can be accessed by intelligence and law enforcement agencies. And even though this personal information can be accessed by all law enforcement and security agencies, including local police stations all the way up to the Australian Federal Police, and ASIO. It is also a goal that the information would be managed in an open and transparent way. And for that purpose, in 2014, the Australian privacy principles were set in place, which are contained in Schedule 1 of the Privacy Act, and which outline how most Australian and North Fork Island government agencies, all private sector, and all also non-profit organizations with an annual turnover of more than $3 million, all private health service providers, and also some small businesses must handle, use, and manage personal information.
And these are our sources. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
I don't think it was recording.
What? I don't think you're